I thought it was kind of crazy when they traded for McCaffrey. Clearly, it's not. But it wasn't like it would have been crazy and actually aged pretty well if he had been going to be a free agent, which they would have definitely re-signed / franchised or whatever. But he's not only wasn't a free agent, he's under contract for multiple years, and he just fucking tied Jerry Rice's record. Like Kyle Shanahan, he's not going anywhere. There's no player. It would take Trent Williams being like 28 to even be on the same level of like, yeah, he's under Kyle's dead body. Is he leaving? Like that's where Christian is right now. Under his dead body is Christian McCaffrey leaving the 49ers if he's healthy.
I think even his dead body would get 10 touches a game. Shanahan would find a way.
I'm saying it would take Kyle's dead body for someone to like have the juice to be like, we can allocate some.
Mike would take over.
I can see Parag, like we could allocate some resources, get a couple Elijah Mitchells.
Mike Shanahan would then take over the team. Christian McCaffrey history tonight. You mentioned the Jerry Rice touchdown in 12 straight games, including the playoffs, tied with Jerry Rice, the longest streaks since the merger. OJ, can't wait for that record.
Pre-murder.
When they do OJ, John Riggins, and McCaffrey on a graphic, is OJ going to be on the graphic, you think?
I do think, I think he's getting to 13 because they play the Cardinals. Getting to 14, that Cowboy game, assuming it's going to be a low-scoring game like last year, could be difficult, right?
No, but I mean, yes, but like the big game is when the best players score, right? Like he's the one that's going to get the ball 7 times on the goal line or whatever.
True.
Hold on.
Gotta get there.
I got more McCaffrey history. That's true. McCaffrey, the 8th player since at least 1970 to score. Oh, we already knew that one. Hold on. The 10th player in NFL history to do it overall, if you don't count the merger. This not one. Here we go. Here's what I'm looking for. McCaffrey, the 4th player in NFL history with 5,000 rushing yards, 450 catches in his first 7 years. Marshall Faulk, Roger Craig, LaDainian Tomlinson. Cool. But McCaffrey needs 47 catches to become the first player in NFL history to 5,000 rushing yards and 500 catches in his first 7 years. The Niners traded for a Hall of Famer in his prime. As long as he's healthy with them at this rate, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, John.
Do you think part of it was it's kind of like a car, right? Even nice cars. They're just viewed as diminished valued once they leave the lot. Running backs are a lot like that. If everyone knew that, like, because it felt like when they traded for him, remember he had just played the Rams or whatever, and it was like, oh, he looked healthy, he looked really good.
Played the Rams. They had given. I remember because I think it was like they gave him like 7 the first 8 touches of the game.
But he had been banged up previously the couple years, and he was on a shitty team. His value was nowhere viewed like last year when how he traded for A.J. Brown. It was like other teams would have gladly traded. It was right. Deebo Samuel. The Jets would have given pick 10. I think McCaffrey was like, he makes a lot of money, always hurt. If everyone knew that you were getting this, even obviously he'd be better on the Niners than a lot of teams. But if teams knew, like, wait, 2nd and 3rd for that,
right?
Are there a lot of other teams in the mix trading
Without
for him?
Question. Without question.
Like, obviously the Niners got to buy low just based on that he was a running back who was viewed as an injury-prone guy. Because I think the league, a couple years ago when he was kicking ass, everyone viewed him as like one of the best players in the league. When he was, remember, it was like a 1,000 guy.
You are so right. Like all the guys you're talking about, where everybody would have taken them if they could have. A.J. Brown is a perfect example. Everybody would have taken A.J. Brown if they could have.
Like, right? Or if the Seahawks would have been like, yeah, we don't want to re-sign DK, we'll trade him. Like 20 teams would have traded for him.
Did the Panthers need any of the Niners? They didn't to get Bryce Young.
No, because they just traded ones basically and DJ
Moore. Because you know who Bryce Young could really use is like, I don't know, Christian McCaffrey.
And DJ Moore.
And DJ Moore. Did you see the clip of DJ Moore?
Wouldn't their team be a lot more interesting with
McCaffrey
and DJ Moore?
They'd be really interesting. Yeah, they wouldn't have to bring Andy Dalton in short yardage situations because their quarterback is too hurt to sneak and too skinny. Levante David, the Bucks game? Did you see that? He was like the DJ Moore. One of them was mic'd up. Might have been him. The Bucks. He was like, man, they are not using you right. And DJ Moore's like, tell me about it. Like during the game, just like shaking hands.
Oh, you're saying when Tampa played the Bears?
Yeah. Like, tell me about it.
I think we got this wrong, and I was guilty of this, is like comparing, Ayuk and Deebo are probably not, they're not as good as like A.J. Brown and Devontae as like true wide receivers, or even now like Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I think we might be looking at it wrong, because obviously Ayuk is really good, but, his role is always going to be very unique relative to like how good he is. It's really Deebo and Christian McCaffrey. Like that's the duo. You saw it tonight. And that's what makes Christian McCaffrey unique is like at any moment he could have like 10 catches. And he's also, with Nick Chubb hurt now, is there even any debate? Is he the best running back in the league?
And Saquon hurt, yeah. I mean,
but even if Saquon was healthy, like
you would
Christian's
take McCaffrey.
better.
They wouldn't trade McCaffrey for any other back or 2 other backs or 3 other backs. Is there
any other running back they would trade straight up 1 for 1?
I think there's like quarterbacks they wouldn't trade McCaffrey for. And I'd be like, yeah, okay. I don't think they trade McCaffrey like since they have Brock. If they didn't have Brock, then like you texted, we were on a thread with Jeff Schwartz because I watched Daniel Jones against the Cardinals.
McCaffrey straight up for Herbert. Who says no first? Chargers obviously no, but do the Niners? No, I would tell Kyle you got to do it, but
you got to do that. But I don't like. I watched Daniel Jones. I'm like, I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's like some bottom of the barrel piece of trash quarterback either.
Like his neck is so long.
Well, how did they go from always looks confused quarterback Eli Manning to always looks confused and worried quarterback Daniel Jones? It's Eli's obviously, to use your term, war daddy. There's no question about it. Left it all on the field. But both those guys look so worried all the time. They just, in a market that really nitpicks you, having a worried face, not ideal. But the Niners had, to start the second quarter, they went Brock ball batted down the line of scrimmage. Deebo, sweet catch over the middle, but ineligible receiver downfield. 2nd and 15. Kittle, incomplete, might have got kicked in the nuts. Got up limping. In that moment, it's 3-3. And you're like, I said to you, like, did Kittle just get hurt? And this offense just they had just punted on the last drive on like a 4 and out. I'm like, oh, this is not. And then Kyle's like, all right, fuck it. Deebo screen, 30 yards. McCaffrey, 9 yards, just poof. McCaffrey, poof, another 10 yards. And they were back on the run and they scored a touchdown. And it's just the second they look like they're a little out of sync, you just give the ball to McCaffrey. Give the ball to Deebo. Hell, give it to him back to back. Just Deebo McCaffrey, Deebo McCaffrey, Deebo McCaffrey. And it's just instant rhythm for Brock when he's kind of out of rhythm. It's like the easy button, those old Staples commercials.
I think those two guys, what makes them different than like to hit A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf or, Tyreek Hill, you are usually pushing the ball down the field. If you watch a top 10 high school team in the country or a top NFL team or, college football team in the country, Chip was always king of this when he was kicking the shit out of everybody. They weren't throwing bombs. It was a lot of like runs and a lot of screens, and they just had way better athletes and way more speed, and just speed meets skill.
Right.
The Niners honestly have moments like that drive you just described that looks like Alabama or Georgia or, Fort Lauderdale, whatever the sweet high school.
St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking for, who I actually ran into one time at the Bay Club at Walnut Creek. And I remember walking, they were playing De La Salle. Jason Taylor was an assistant coach. They had about 7 guys. They were clearly in the dinner line because they were eating their pregame meal. That I was like, if I said, these guys are practice squatters for the 49ers. One was like Jason Taylor's kid. The other was like Michael Irvin's cousin, Deion Sanders' nephew. I mean, they were fucking enormous. But the point is, if you watch those teams, at that level, you don't have to throw bombs to beat them. It's like, just hand the ball off to fucking the guy that's going to Alabama. The Niners, and I would say Kyle and Deebo has really played this role for a long time, and Kittle has his moments. They get the ball very close to the line of scrimmage. Now adding McCaffrey, they got 2 guys that majority of their touches are right around or behind the line of scrimmage, and it's fucking the gates are open. I mean, Deebo had a night tonight, was like, hey, everybody, I'm just as good as McCaffrey. And the one play he had has to be one of the sweetest plays of the year so far, right? He broke like 4 tackles, 360. Yeah, the one he broke a rib slash, just got the wind knocked out of him.
The touchdown he had Sunday was one of the best plays of the year. When he caught it on the sideline, you're like, how is he going to score from there?
The key, if you're an NFL star and you get the wind knocked out of you, you stay down long enough where it's like, did he just break a rib? Because you can't get up right away, but you have to lay long enough to like let everyone know it might be a serious injury, and then cruise the blue tent, and then within 2 plays, you're like, wait, did they just throw the ball to him again? It's like, no, he's fine. He's got to catch his breath. But it's a very NBA move. Like, it could be his knee shattered. No, actually, he's completely fine. But he was on the ground long enough where it's like, I can't just jump up now. People be like, what the hell was he doing? So he played it perfectly, I thought.
Right. If you get hit in the stomach and you lose your breath playing pickup hoops, 9 guys just run the other way and you got to stumble to the sideline. If you're an NFL star, you can just lay on the field with all of America watching to catch your breath and just catch your breath. They did the thing like no music going to break, guys. No music going to break. Debo's down. Then no music. They fade to black. They go to break differently when a player's hurt.
Yeah.
And they just fade to black. And it's like, all right. And
Kyle,
they had a shot of Kyle as they went to break, unfazed. He was like, yeah, I've seen this one before.
Yeah, the Giants have a couple that are actually way worse than like the NBA NFL player lay there for too long move. Is when the guy hops up, but his shoulder's kind of dangling, and he's like, and you can tell the coach is like, oh my God, he just fucking broke his clavicle. I think they had that twice. Adoree Jackson and the other, I think, D lineman, you're like, that's probably serious.
They had the O lineman go down on the interception. He like tried to tackle Hufanga and like rolled his own ankle.
Yeah. That looked bad. And was that they had another guy with like a shoulder kind of dangling that kind of jogged off. You're like, oh, that ain't good. And Dable's like, holy fuck. The Niners have a lot of you just hold your breath, and then all of a sudden Kittle will do like the Rock in like 2001 in the ring. No one will even touch him, and he'll jump up on his own and go like this. It's like, George, we just thought your entire lower body was shattered, and you're completely fine. 3 times a game, I kind of hold my breath for 2 seconds. That like, did McCaffrey just blow out his knee? No, he's okay.
John, it's not 3 times a game for me. He gets tackled so hard. He got flipped onto his head early in the game today.
He's always bleeding.
His elbows. He bleeds from the just put on a little elbow sleeve, but he loves the blood.